Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Thursday, the 5th of June, 2024. I'm Graham Hughes, and you are watching Morning Brew on Politics Social. How are you all doing this morning? We've got John in the chat, we've got Scott, we've got Sarah Davis, we've got Michael Warner, we've got Jeff True in there, we've got Leapshin, the Witchy Goth, we've got Billy Kershaw, Reagan Elite, hello! We've got Pygmalion, Francis is in there. We've got Ivan, hi Ivan, how's it going, mate? And we've got Sarah Davis, I said that, Joanna Hammond, and Andrew Jackson, and others. If you would like to join these beautiful and amazing and erudite people in the chat, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button and wait for a minute. We just need about 150 more subscribers and we'll hit 42,000. Oh, yes. So if you've got any friends or family or colleagues or just people that you pass on the streets on the way to the bus stop, tell them to watch this channel. Say, come join the Politics Social gang. We're fun over here. We do talk about a bit of politics, and I know you're not supposed to do that, but, we have fun with it, don't we? We have fun. I like to think we have fun anyway. God, someone's got to have fun these days. It's all a bit bloody doomy and gloomy, isn't it? So I was a bit torn this morning, not least because my laptop wasn't bloody working, so I couldn't get everything set up in time like I normally do, and had to do it on this computer instead. Aside from that, I was thinking of talking about the orange gobshite, the Benito, Chito Benito over in America, and his new travel ban, his new Muslim and Venezuelan travel ban, and I decided not to because I want to sort of focus on the UK for a little bit, and I know that's normally something that we do on Fridays when we're talking with when we're talking with Phil Morehouse. However, I think there's a couple of things here that need addressing, and we need to talk about Labour's stupid mistakes, and I think we can all get on board, whatever our political stripes are at the moment, to say Labour have made some glaring errors of judgment that are going to come back to haunt them, I swear. Okay, so Rosie, 2911. Thank you so much, Rosie. That's really kind of you. Rosie has gifted 5 Politics Social memberships. Ooh, exciting stuff. So now Graham Haller, The Serendipity Journey, Matt Varley, Donkey, and Wayne Blackburn have received gift memberships. So well done, everyone there. I thought Donkey's already a member, but whatever. Welcome, new members. Donkey, I think your name's on the end. It's on the end credits, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so Sarah Davis, this is my sanctuary from an insane world. Oh, thanks, Sarah. I don't know. It's like you need to talk to the crazy person in order to see what's happening, to calm down about what's happening in the world, I suppose. I don't know. I wouldn't regard me as massively sane, considering some of the stuff I've done. I watched a few movies with Ben Chambers last night, and one of them was called Fall. It came out about 3 years ago. It's about these stupid girls who go and climb this 1,800 foot TV mast in the middle of a desert, in the middle of nowhere, and they get trapped at the top. Oh my God, I don't think I've ever seen a scarier film. Genuinely, because I'm watching Mission Impossible, right? And that Tom Cruise isn't going to fall off the Burj Khalifa. He's got to let go of that biplane and splash on the ground without a parachute. Don't you? Because it's Tom Cruise. Sorry, spoilers, but it's Tom Cruise. Come on. Whereas this, well, it's just 2 unknown actresses stuck at the top of a big tower, and it's really windy in the middle of a desert, and they can't get off it, and their phones aren't working, and anyway, so yeah, terror. So and Ben's like, I'll never do that, and I'm like, I'll never do that. He goes, I'll never go skydiving. I'm like, I've been skydiving. He goes, I'll never go bungee jumping. I've been bungee jumping. And he's like, you crazy? And I'm like, yeah, possibly a bit, but not that crazy. Come on, there's crazy, and then there's not telling anyone that you're going to climb a massive rusty old disused TV mast and then getting stuck at the top. Right, anyway, so we're going to be talking about the lady is for turning. See what I've done there? The winner of the Turner Prize this year, Rachel Reeves. That's what I did there. I bet someone else steals that joke. I bet that's in the private eye next week. So Rachel Reeves has now reversed, not fully, partially. It's a partial U-turn. Has now reversed. It's more of a diversion. It's like You know, when you're like, I can't, there's an intersection, there's a median, I can't turn, it's not an intersection, there's a median, I can't get over to the other side of the road, it's dual carriageway. And I've got to go all around the houses to get where I want to go, So Rachel Reeves has just reversed one of Labour's flagship policies, one of their earliest flagship policies, the means-tested winter fuel payment, which was, I mean, let's face it, it was always going to be unpopular, I think. I don't think that people would have got on board, not least because of the way that Labour did it. They did it in such a shitty way because they're just like, yeah, we're going to just cut it off at like 10, 11,000 or something, like whatever. And this was infuriating in so many ways because it's not that much money for people who actually need it, right? That the government can give to people to just help them in the winter, especially with fuel prices being what they are. And I don't think that many people had a problem with the idea that millionaires who live in Thailand don't get that uplift. They don't get that credit. Okay, fair enough. Like, I think most people would agree with that. That's okay. But you have people who are earning like £50 more a year. So literally £1 a week more than they should have done, and they fell off the threshold, and they were getting their £200 to £300 for the winter fuel payments. And the thing is, I think this really shows the difference in approach from the New Labour years, especially the early years, 1997, to probably till Tony Blair stood down in 2007. It shows the difference in the mentality of these two administrations. So in 1997, with Alistair Campbell being their chief spin doctor, I really doubt they would have done this. And if they had, they would have spun it really well. And they would have gone on and on about millionaires getting this money that they don't deserve, right? Actually, it was Labour in 1997 who brought in this winter fuel allowance for all pensioners. Anyway, so they said we're going to means test it, but they means tested it at a lower level. So, you know, she's gone, this makes, and now to U-turn on it, what's happened is Rachel Reeves has gone from iron fiscal discipline to bewildered sort of firefighter against their own policies in just 1 year. Like, they can say, 14 years of Tory chaos, and that's true. They can talk about the £22 billion black hole, but these are fires that Labour created. Labour created these. Now, big shout out to Daylight Dave for for joining the channel. Welcome, my friend. You are awesome. Now Daylight Dave is on Lone Star, which is good. There's Lone Star, there's Superstar, there's like Cosmic Star somewhere up there, which is awesome. So yeah, you just give what you like, you know. Put 50p in the idiot. Anyway, so back to what's happening. Starmer and Reeves. So this is like a political embarrassment, you know. It's not just about realizing, you know, that they didn't really have the public moods, you know, they hadn't really taken the temperature. But it seems, just from a aesthetics point of view, like how things look, it looks cowardly. It looks confused. It's a climb down. It's a change of policy to reverse a policy that they put in place. And this undermines the credibility of this new Labour government. It's been less than a year that they've been in power. And, you know, what does this mean for the spending review? What does it mean for the welfare state? So the original decision was that winter fuel payment would be restricted to those on pension credit. That meant that 10 million pensioners were cut off, which was a massive shift from the universal model that had been adopted since 1997 up until last year. Payment worth around £200 to £300, usually paid automatically in November or December. And this led to fury from opposition MPs, clearly, because they were looking for a way of having a go at having a go at Labour, obviously. Also, like Age UK and, you know, Elderly and the newspapers, but also from Labour backbench MPs. And this is why, when I say, write to your MP, it is really important that you let them know, especially if they're a backbencher, that you're not happy, and you're so not happy, you're going to write them a letter, and you're going to force them to write you a letter back because they've got to communicate. And like, it just shows that pressure does eventually, it can pay off. We are not powerless in these situations. Unlike those poor bastards in America. Jesus Christ. I'd like to be in America right now. Ooh, Orvi, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Thank you. Have a chat, Graham. First chat. First super chat of the morning. Thank you. Thank you. That's very kind of you. So, the local election results, which were disastrous for the Tories, but also really bad for Labour, and they lost a seat in Runcorn, a safe seat with a 15,000 majority. They lost it by 6 votes in Runcorn and Helsby. And the woman that they've got in place stood up yesterday in Parliament and said, we should ban the burqa. Actually, no, she sounded like this. Yeah, well, I think we should ban the burqa. Because she's privately educated. Of course she is. Like, literally half the party of Refuck are privately educated because they represent a certain class of people that the majority of the population are not. They're not us. They're not like us. They're not like us at all. Anyway, so it looks like the local election results and the constant pressure and the pressure from the backbenchers has led Starmer to promise a rethink. And this has kind of left Reeves a little bit floundering, because if she was like, no, we've definitely got to do this, it's a really good idea. And he's like, but we're losing all this support. And look at our membership numbers. Now, Labour this year haven't published their membership numbers, which is unusual. They normally do that. They normally like crowing about how many members they've got. They're not doing that this year. And if you think about 3 people that you know, that you watch videos of, who are members of the Labour Party, me, Tansky and Phil Morehouse, 2 of them have left. I've only not left because I want to go to conference this year, because it's in Liverpool, and I want to, hang out and meet people and maybe make some connections, maybe get some people to come on the show, on the channel. But yeah, the people are leaving in droves, and it makes a difference. Labour are looking at that going, shit, that's our money. We need that to print leaflets that no one sees. They could use that money to start a decent social media team at Labour, like a social media squad whose job it is to assist MPs making their own social media content. They're to make stuff, make a channel that people watch for Labour, where they'd have, the leader talking, having a chat about what they're doing and why they're doing it and explaining it to their voters, but they don't want to do that. They just want to make proclamations from on high, just like Donald Trump made a proclamation yesterday. Sorry to just dart across the pond for a moment. He made a proclamation. Now, the only people who should make proclamations are popes and medieval kings. But he did it anyway. He made a proclamation about foreign students studying at Harvard. He said, nope, not having any of those visas issued to those damn foreigners. Jesus. It's only 27% of their income. Oh my God. Actually, it's more than that. It's 27% of their student faculty are foreign students. And the money they get from them is higher than the amount of money they get from natural-born Yanks, natural-born killers. In America. So, the new position is that more people will get the payments, the winter fuel payments, this winter, and that's been confirmed by Rachel Reeves. There's still no clear eligibility criteria because they haven't supplied it yet, so we just don't know where the cut-off's going to be or how it's going to work. And the government has... Fucking hell. They're so shit at this. They have suggested clawback via taxation. Give with one hand and take with the other. And the lack of clarity, like we don't know how many pensioners are going to get it, no explanation of the means testing threshold, no mechanism in place to implement the changes in time, reports that bereaved families may be pursued by HMRC to recover payments from their deceased loved ones. Yes! And this makes Labour look indecisive and reactive and reckless, to be honest with you. I mean, they shouldn't have done this in the first place. And the way they're going about undoing the damage they've done to their own brand, their own credibility, is causing more damage to their brand and their credibility. Oh! And this opens the flanks for Farage and Tories to exploit. You know, Farage calling for a full U-turn. Of course he would. He's a millionaire. He's going to be a pensioner in a few years, by the looks of things. By the looks of him, anyway. He could do with some extra money, because money's nice, I guess. He likes money. It keeps him in his private jets and keeps him having posh bank accounts. So, yeah, nice. There was a quote from Daisy Cooper that I've got, which is, the whole debacle has caused needless misery for millions of pensioners. And Cavill Abrams from Age UK has said, we were encouraged by the Chancellor's words, but we will wait to see the detail. And in the context of the spending review, Reeves has got a balancing act here. She's got to do the day-to-day spending that has to be covered by tax revenue, no new borrowing for welfare. That's one of their red lines, because obviously after the kamikaze budget, the under Liz Truss in 2022, we're not going to be able to go back to tax, just giving tax giveaways to people, or unfunded tax cuts. They spook the market and blow massive £425 billion black holes in our pension funds. Thanks for that, Truss, you nutter. God, she's so vacant. Hi, I'm Liz Truss. You know those movies when it's like a little kid who becomes an adult, like, you know, Vice Versa, Freaky Friday, Big. Big, like, so Liz Truss is like Big, but it's a woman. It's a little girl. It's a little 6-year-old spoilt brat who likes lollipops and pats on the head. And then suddenly she's in the body of a 45-year-old woman. And she's like, lollipops! Pork markets! God, she was our Prime Minister. She was our Prime Minister. So what happens when a country loses its collective fucking mind? Anyway, Ivan, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. That's very kind of you. Don't get me started on Labour Party conference, inaccessible for household members with their failure to provide hybrid access. Yep. I agree. It could be a lot more accessible, and we are only talking here reasonable adjustments. There are facilities available now for streaming of nearly all of the talks that go on. We could have a central thing that sends it out on their YouTube channels, and you can watch all these things at home. And they could set it up so in order to watch the stuff, you need to be a particular level of membership of the channel, and to get that level of membership, you've got to pay 20 quid or something like that. And you can watch any that you want. You can go through the program and you go, right, I want to watch this, and then it's look. Don't get me started on Labour comms, Ivan, mate. You're absolutely right. They're just so shit at it, because this isn't just about accessibility. This is about communication in general. They are fucking awful at it. It is painful. It's amateur hour. It is the thick of it. It's just mind-meltingly frustrating that they have the opportunity to work with a lot of talented people, and they choose not to. They get a consultancy firm in. A consultancy firm don't know what they're fucking doing. So go on, name me the consultancy firms that have built up massive YouTube audiences. Go on. The consultancy. Mr. Beast went to a fucking consultancy firm. Went to a private school, obviously, you know. But he didn't go to a consultancy firm. Fuck me. Oh, the stupid. It burns. Sorry. I'm excited this morning, aren't I? What's in this? So there's no the infrastructure spend will be expanded under new fiscal rules, but that doesn't help cold pensioners like now. Although I think pensioners are doing all right at the moment. It's not too cold out, unless you're here in Durham, where it's all constantly freezing. It's a land of always winter. Keep seeing some crazy witch going past on a sledge, handing out fucking Turkish delight willy-nilly. It's a bit weird. The land of always winter. Welcome to Durham. Especially with this bloody Doge fucking refuck council. My God. That you can't find fucking waste in a council that's had its central government funding cut by 50%. They're bringing in consultants, tech pros to look for waste. And you know what? I'm sure they'll find some mad stuff because they always do with councils. But that's the thing. They always do with councils, whether they're run by Labour or the Lib Dem or the Greens or Lib Dems or the Greens. Just one Lib Dem. The Lib Dems or the Greens or Plaid Company. It doesn't matter. Whoever runs the fucking council, there will be some waste, but that's found by the council. There's a CEO of a council who has a full-time job to run the council. They find mad shit that the council's decided to spend money on or someone's ripped off the council. They try and claw it back. They always do. That's always happened. That is nothing new. But now Refuck are going to be like, oh, look, we found $500,000 that was going to be spent on this nonsense, and now we're not going to spend it on this nonsense. Aren't we clever? It's like, fucking hell. I'm just going to make this a little bit brighter. Just one stop. Just don't like the brightness. Put the brightness up. Anyway, so yes, M. Miliband has also forced, according to the papers today, Rachel Reeves to drop planned cuts to the net zero home insulation scheme. Good. Do you know what homes could do with? Insulation. Put insulation in our drafty old Victorian homes, please. And, you know, again, a bit like with the winter fuel payment, it's not like a huge sum of money. I know, like, spread out amongst 10 million pensioners, obviously that's a lot of money, right? But for those who actually need it, so like anyone earning less than, let's say, 18,000 a year, whatever it is, right? Whatever it decides to be. Fair enough, right? And then you've got the winter fuel payments on one hand, but then you've got this insulation drive that we did have started under the Tories, under David Cameron. And then he got rid of it. You got the successive dickheads got rid of this drive to insulate people's houses. And it's the cheapest and most effective way of driving people's bills down. You put insulation in the loft, you will save a couple £100 on your bills. And like all through the winter here in Durham, I am fucking freezing. I wear my coat inside. Like I will be sitting here doing a show and my coat is next to me. I've taken it off to do the show because I don't want to be sitting here in a big puffer jacket, you know, duffel coat, doing the show because I think I look a bit ridiculous. I mean, I already look ridiculous if you see my hat. And we don't turn the heating on. If the kids aren't here, they're in school or they're not in the house, we don't turn the heating on all through winter. And this is a Victorian house, so it's fucking freezing. It's a Victorian terrace. It's absolutely freezing cold in the winter. We're on the end. External wall. Great. So anyway, right. Moving on. What have we got? Darren Jones is urging departments to find savings, and cabinet ministers are furious about their tight allocations of their various budgets on their portfolios, as they call it. So upcoming announcements include the £15 billion transport outside London, transport not for London, as I like to call it, and the NHS getting a lot of priority, economic growth getting a lot of priority, and also defence getting a lot of priority. And this again winds me the fuck up because it didn't have to be this way. If the Western powers, including the UK and the EU and America at the time, had stood up strongly against the invasion of Crimea and told Russia to get the fuck out of there and actually done something about it, then we wouldn't be in this mess. We wouldn't be having to ramp up our defense capabilities in the face of Russia, which is going to just continue to blow up passenger airplanes, murder British citizens on UK soil, things it's already done, and murder, butcher, rape, and attack tens of thousands of innocent Ukrainians, Europeans, for no reason other than Vladimir Putin needs to keep a perpetual war going, just like in the book 1984, in order to keep that motherfucker in power. Just like Benjamin Netanyahu. the war ends, so does their political career. And in the case of Netanyahu, his political career will end in jail, whereas Putin, his political career will end with him being tossed out of a window. A greasy spot on Main Street. A greasy spot on Red Square. Anyway, so back to Labour. This takes place in a context of, a wider context of a pattern, should we say, of Labour sort of backpedaling. The two-child benefit cap is still in place, and Starmer is infuriatingly refusing to say if it will be scrapped. And it's another welfare issue where he looks like a rabbit caught in headlights, as I often say about Starmer on this channel. This is not the right move. This is not the right move. The right move is to stand up and to say, we find the two-child cap. It is abominable. It is punishing children. It is just wrong. There's no moral justification for it. And my government are going to get rid of it. That's what you say. And everyone goes, oh, cool. They're going to get rid of the two-child cap. Instead, they go, no, we're going to be clever. We're going to play 4D chess. We're not going to tell you what we're going to do. Might do it. We might not do it. Who knows? We're crazy. Woo! Yeah, you fucking idiots. Just be clear. Just be clear and say you're going to do it. You're working towards it. There are words that you can use. And I know they're weasel words. You know they're weasel words. Everyone knows. Everyone who's interested in politics knows that there's a difference. There's a big difference between saying what you're doing and what you're working towards. But just fucking say it. Just for the sake of the fucking Poles, say it. And not just the Poles, the Hungarians and the Czechs. Just fucking say it. Oh, my God. I don't know what's wrong with them. They're just not getting good advice. That's all I can say. Thank you very much to Ivan for the £5 super chat. The winter fuel payment system is all wrong. There are so many people who are not pensioner age who could really do winter fuel help too. Yeah, it's a really good point, Ivan. Like anyone who's on benefits, anyone who's on PIP. Yeah, that could come in handy because we can all freeze. But being cold is horrible. I hate it. I fucking hate it. Like, I can't tell you how much I would rather not live somewhere where it's fucking cold all the time. Like, I'm a warm-blooded creature. What can I say? When I travelled, you might have heard about this, but when I travelled to every country in the world without flying, people asked me how I could do it with just a little leather jacket, like Indiana Jones. And I was like, because most countries are warm. Most humans are sensible enough to live in countries that are warm the majority of the time. It's only absolute idiots like us here in the UK, people who live in Canada, people who live in Norway, who seem to like the cold. But here's the thing. Cold people die faster. Indeed, that's why some of the longest lived people you will find in slightly warmer climes in Sardinia and Mediterranean countries. And not quite the case in the UK. Although I think the longest lived person at the moment is actually from Britain. But yeah, that's a one-off. Also, Poison Chalice. Poison Chalice to be the oldest living person. They keep dying. I don't know why. Maybe someone's assassinating them. That would make a boring movie, wouldn't it? Right, so the immigration policy. The Tories are proposing that we leave the European Court of Human Rights and therefore the European Convention of Human Rights. And Labour have not been forthright in what they plan to do. They say nebulous stuff like, we're going to smash the gangs. Are you? Are you really? I don't think you are, mate. Are you going to put the genie back in the bottle? I don't think you are, mate. You're going to stop all the drugs coming in. You're going to smash the drug gangs, are you? No. No, you're not. The US government spent billions in the 80s, billions and billions of dollars with a B, trying to take down the cartels, the Medellin cartel, the Cali cartel in Colombia. And it didn't stop the global supply of cocaine, did it? People could still get their Bolivian marching powder, can't they? They can still get their beak. They can still get their gack. Yeah, they can. I know that because most of these fucking politicians, especially in the Tories, are on this fucking stuff. Look at Elon Musk. That is not a sober man. So instead of having a clear policy which will work. Like, let's set up a processing centre in Calais and have a deal with France to say, if people are coming over on boats, we can send them back to the processing centre in Calais. That's how you smash the gangs, because before Brexit, there were no boats. Do you remember those days, those glorious, heady days, before we decided to vote to impose economic sanctions on ourselves, when there weren't that many people coming from the rest of the world to the United Kingdom, when we actually seemed to have a little bit more control of our borders, when there were no boats, zero, before the Brexit referendum, zero boats, nil point, nil bateau. Jesus Christ. And people still vote for Farage. People are still voting for this frog-faced motherfucker. This nicotine-stained man-frog. This bollock-faced foghorn of ignorance. Still like, yeah, he's our guy. He's the guy. Fucked our country. Made lots of money out of it. Picture of him, thumbs up with the pound crashing. What a gobshite. What a gobshite. So, Labour are being outflanked by Farage at the moment on rhetoric. And the problem with this sort of, Labour's trying to be a pleaser, I guess, but they're trying to please the markets. They're trying to please Middle England. They're trying to please pensioners. And they're trying to please Rupert fucking Murdoch. All at once. And you know what? You can't please all of those people all at once because they're all, you know, problematic for different reasons, okay? Some more than others. But I'll tell you who you're really not going to make any friends with. You know, you're not going to impress by trying to impress them. Labour voters, Labour supporters, Labour members. No person in the history of the world joined Labour because they liked the way that Labour were trying to impress Rupert Murdoch. Because, I know there's going to be news to a lot of front benchers in the Labour Party, we fucking hate Rupert Murdoch. On the day it happens for him, I'm going to have a fucking party. Right. Ends up pleasing nobody and alienating everyone all at once. And trust in Labour, no matter what Phil says about them not being as a party of social justice. And I'm like, but they brought in the NHS. They decriminalised homosexuality. They brought in Sure Start schemes. Apart from that, the trust of people in Labour as a force for social justice is fraying, to say the least. And yeah, we can't give. I understand that we need to means test the winter fuel payments, and I know that's a big fucking ball ache. If it does actually turn out to be cheaper just to give a 200 quid uplift to every single pensioner, including the millionaires, then fuck it, do it. If it's cheaper to do it that way. Because obviously means testing means you've got to employ people to check. And that's, if you want to check the credit rating, if you like, the amount of money, the earnings of 10 million people, that's a hell of a workforce that you've got to put together in order to do that. And whether there's time now is another matter. Like, is there time to actually implement this? And, you know, people talking about Reeves being, well, she likes to say that she's being fiscally responsible. But, I mean, being fiscally responsible isn't the same as moral abdication. Like, you can do both. I know that sounds like I want my cake and to eat it, but the money is there. And I hate the way that, because successive chancellors treat our budget like it is like it's a household budget. Like there's 300 quid a week comes in, and we have to break that down into what we spend on fuel, what we spend on transport, what we spend on food and water bills and the council tax and all the other shit you've got to pay, right? It's not like that with the government. The government can literally print its own money if it wants to, if it's canny about it. The government can borrow. I mean, the Tory lot love to borrow, usually to finance their friends to get on the PPE VIP lane, things like that, feather the nest of the already rich. But that's not to say that Labour can't do that themselves. It's not like can't borrow. And we have this idea in our head that it's irresponsible for our government to borrow. But here's the thing. All governments borrow in the same way that 99.9% of homeowners borrow. It's not a problem. It's called a mortgage. You might have heard of them. You get a mortgage. The bank buys the house. And then you pay back the bank over 25, 30, 31, 40 years. You pay the bank back. It's the way it works. And it's fine so long as you can meet the repayments. Big problem with borrowing in the UK at the moment is that we have lost our AAA rating from Moody's and Standard & Poor and the other credit reference agencies because of Brexit. We've gone down from AAA to AA plus or something. We've dropped a lot, right? And that means borrowing money costs more. Then we've got the interest rates, which are set by the Bank of England, and they're higher than they were. We had free money 14 years ago. Interest rates were like 0.1%. They were insanely low. We could have done so much more. We could have had the NHS 2.0. We could have had a sovereign wealth fund. We could have bought back loads of things like that have been privatised stupidly by the Tories. So we could have bought back the water companies. We could have bought back the train companies. We could have bought back the electricity grid. Excellent. Bring it back and make it so it's owned by us, the British people, stakeholders in our own national infrastructure. I like the idea of that. No, it is not communism to want to have energy self-sufficiency. No, it's not communism to not want to be reliant on the likes of Qatar for your gas, Saudi Arabia, Libya, Angola for your oil, for your means of transportation to be based on, and your infrastructure, your industry to be based on a fuel that you can't get enough of out of the North Sea. And maybe we could have nationalised those platforms on the North Sea, like what they've got in Norway, where they have a sovereign wealth fund that's been going since the 1970s and just keeps growing and growing and growing. Go to Norway, check out the infrastructure. People are looked after from cradle till grave. It is almost a utopia. And it's very, very socialist in that respect. It's a place where last year, I don't think they sold a single internal combustion engine car. A single one. They're all electric. That's it. They've made the leap. They've made the leap. We used to play a game, me and the girls, when we were driving. And if you saw an electric car, well, if you saw a Mini, you had to say any Mini. And if you saw an electric car, you had to say Specky Lecky. And sometimes if you see an electric Mini, you get to say Specky Lecky, any Mini. Anyway, or any Mini, Specky Lecky. And it was fascinating, playing this game over the last couple of years. We stopped playing it because literally every other car on the road was an electric car. You can tell because it's got a little green block on the license plate, on the registration plate. We stopped playing it because it was just every other car, electric. And it's unstoppable. That is market forces, right? Market forces. Because people know that having an electric car, despite the billions being spent on disinformation by the big car companies, by the big oil companies, because they don't want people, well, not the car companies as much, but definitely the oil companies, because they don't want people to stop using oil in their car. That would be the worst thing ever. But seriously, mate, electric cars, they're so good. That's why they're lobbying governments to not put the infrastructure in so people can't charge their cars. So they become less attractive and people suffer from what they call range anxiety, which I think is mad because there's always somewhere to plug in. There's always somewhere to plug in. You might have to wait to get to use the fucking plug, but there's always somewhere to plug in. It is endlessly frustrating that there's so little infrastructure in place for electric cars in this country. And that's because the oil companies lobby the fuck out of MPs to not spend money on that kind of thing. And I think that with Lincolnshire having a free fuck mayor and Refoot Council, County Council, they're not going to be spending any money on electric charging points. So if we drive down to London, for instance, which is something that we wouldn't do, we always get the train really. But if we did decide to drive down to London for whatever reason, as soon as we hit the county on the A1M of Lincolnshire and then start travelling south till we get out of Lincolnshire, we're probably not going to be able to charge our car. It's going to be a car charging desert. Thanks for that. A bit like Kensington and Chelsea in London, where it's a cycle lane desert. Because it's made of Tories and posh people and fat fucking horrible gammon motherfuckers, like, you know, these old bastards with their money, sitting there with all their money, and they're like, I don't like cycles, I don't like, by cyclists created an irrational rage in me, money. You know the type. A lot of them live in Chelsea and Kensington. Ancestral wealth. It's the only way you can really live there. I made all my money myself. No one gave me anything. They gave you a £15,000 a term fucking education, mate, in which you got to meet all these very useful people who also have lots of money and money to invest. You also have rich Uncle Monty, who will give you £50,000. No questions asked to start your little tile-making business, whatever the fuck it is. Always nice to have a rich Uncle Monty. If you haven't got a rich Uncle Monty, you're fucked. Small business loan. Maximum 20 grand. 6% interest. Backed by the government. And it's on you. If your company fails, you still have to pay the money back. Boom! This is the British way. Yeah! Let's not invest in our citizens. But yeah, Norway, Sovereign Wealth Fund. It's worth over £1 million per citizen, which is over £100,000 per citizen. And it just keeps going up. They only use the cream off the top of the Sovereign Wealth Fund to, which is growing every year. They use the cream off the top to invest in stuff. And it frees up billions to invest. My Gott in Himmel, as the Germans might say. Right, what's going on in the chat? Don't know. Fraying, says Mick Perry. It's gone for me and the disabled, I know. Yeah, Mick. Can't argue with that. Pete says, I am in an upstairs council flat, heavy loft insulation, and since they upgraded the windows and added wall insulation downstairs, heating comes straight into mind. Heating comes in. Toasty and keeps my bills down. That is good. When I used to live in Whitworth Park in Manchester, these are these buildings that are shaped like Toblerones, literally like Toblerones. They're mostly roof, right? They were built in the 70s because any idiot who had a brick was allowed to build shit. And had a few bricks. And what would happen is I was in flat 13 of Aberdeen House, which was I was in flat 13, room 101. Yeah. Good job, I'm not superstitious, eh? Anyway, so I was on the ground floor. My girlfriend was in the next one, Garstang, and she was on the top floor. And because it was shaped like this, right, you'd have like, I think it was like 2 flats on the ground floor. And then there was a flat above it that was like split in 2. I think you went upstairs or something like that. Anyway, upstairs in these top flats, because it was shaped like a Toblerone, it was absolutely stifling. It was so hot. Downstairs in the ground floor flats were freezing cold. And you would look out and you're shivering out the window and you'd look across at the other flats across the way, and all the windows, they'd have snow on the windows, and the windows, they have those skylight windows, all the windows would be open and there'd be steam coming out. I mean, it was like a fucking sauna. Yeah, great design. God, they were design geniuses in the 1960s, weren't they? Let's build everything out of concrete and asbestos. It'll be fine. Concrete, rack, and asbestos. It'll be fine. No, we don't need windows that open. We can just completely rely on an air conditioning system. It'll be fine. It'll never, ever break or be, I don't know, full of Legionnaire's disease. That'll never happen. That will almost never happen. It will sometimes never happen. It will more than often happen. But, you know, it's a great idea. Let's build a building where the windows don't fucking open. It's all right. It will be climate controlled by computers in the future. You know, when the computers were those big fucking spools of tape, like from Joe 90. Good stuff. Good stuff, everyone. Well done. Well done. Sarah says people who rent should be able to use that to prove they can afford a mortgage when applying for one. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. How is it allowed that you can get a mortgage cheaper on a 3-bed house than a rent on a 1-bed flat, to Sarah? Because rich people get all the benefits. They get more benefits than the poor people. Vimes Boot Index. Have a look at it. It's a lot more expensive to be poor than it is to be rich. So, for instance, if you can shop whenever you like, you can get all the bargains. You can go to your Lidl and get your 10% off or whatever. If you can only shop at a certain time each week, you might not be able to take advantage of those savings. You might not be able to get those great bargains in the middle of Lidl. If you can shop whenever you want, it means that you're allowed to shop around, look for bargains, and spend more time looking for stuff that's cheaper, hunting it out. If you're rich, you get to spend, you can get tickets for a gig when they come out. And you've got the time and the disposable income to pay for those things. If you haven't got the money at the time, but you really want to go, you end up paying more because you have to pay a secondary resale site or a tout in order to get the ticket. So instead of spending 60 quid on a ticket, you spend 600 quid on a ticket. Being poor is incredibly expensive. We're not poor. Well, I would be on my own, but like with Kat, I'm not. But Kat's hearing aids are £1,500 each. And so when she turns up to places and says, I need accessibility because I'm deaf, and they go, you're not really deaf. Can you prove that you're deaf? I don't believe you're deaf because I watched Little Britain, and the guy in Little Britain, the privately educated guy in the wheelchair, wasn't really disabled. So I don't trust anyone. I think they're not really disabled. I don't think any trans women are actually trans women. I think they're just men pretending so they can attack women. Because I've been told not to trust anyone by all of the media that I have consumed throughout my life. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so yeah, you can imagine how frustrating it is. Like, yeah, I was just happy to spend $3,000 on hearing aids just to pretend so I could get an accessibility pass for this attraction or museum or whatever the fuck it is we're going to. Can you prove that you're deaf? Go on, prove it. Prove it. Like it's going to be like fucking Perry Mason in the courthouse, like throwing a fucking rock at someone's head and they catch it. Ha 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 ha! You were just pretending to be paralyzed, weren't you? Oh, fuck yeah, I was. Anyway, right, moving on. We were promised stability, competence, grown-up governments, but we seem to have a bit of a shambolic bunch of backtrackers that's left millions of pensioners feeling aggrieved. Even pensioners who don't really give a fuck because that 200 quid is nothing to them. They're feeling aggrieved. And the Treasury is throwing around the fucking hot potato that they created. They baked the fucking potato. They took it out the oven with their hands and went, "Ooh, this is hot." And they're like, duh, what were you teething problems. So it was teething problems. I'm like, they've been in power for nearly a year. They've been preparing for power for years. It's like that thing with Brexit where we announced we were Article 50 before we had any plan in place, before we had any deals, anything. I know we couldn't have a final deal on the leaving thing, but we could have had some discussions. We could have set up a timetable. We just flung ourselves into gay abandon. That sounds like a great name for a bar. Come, join me in gay abandon. Jesus Christ. Labour doesn't need to be perfect, but they need to be competent. And there's one thing, and you know this because you watch this channel, that fucks me off more than anything else. It's people who are paid vast sums of money for what they do, and they are fucking incompetent. They are the Comic Sans of creatives or consultants or con artists or whatever. They're just fucking basic. And the problem is that because of the daft system we've got in this country, a lot of the people operating the levers of power, and I know this isn't quite the case with Labour like it was with the Tories, but they are only in the position of power because of what they know about who they know. Because they all went to school together. Competence be damned. Yeah. Nice baby. Who's saying nice? Nice man from council has been round to assess the Triffids. They'll be sending a quote later. Why did I put it off for so long? Because fear. Yeah, Triffids are never a good idea. Joanna, just had a silly idea. Turn HB into an investment. Allow it to be used to pay for mortgages. The catch, councils own that portion of the property they pay for. If they fully pay, they get it. I think that councils should be allowed to be private landlords. Okay, here's a few things I want to see. I want to see if you own a property, right, and you do nothing with it, there is a strict use it or lose it clause. If you allow your property to fall into rack and ruin because you're a Russian billionaire and you've bought up an entire street of houses in Belgravia in London and you're letting them rot, sorry, we're going to take them off you. Compulsory purchase, that's what I'm talking about. Also, if you don't have anyone living in those places, then you have to pay 5 times the council tax. I'm not fucking around here, because in Liverpool, we had thousands of mealy-mouthed little twats coming up from the south and buying our houses, buying entire terrace streets, because they had the money to do so. And they let them rot, because they just wanted to flip them. They weren't interested in putting people in there. They weren't interested in renting them out to anyone. They just knew that if they bought some houses, in a few years' time, they'll be worth twice as much. And at the time, if you did that and you stripped the house of its habitability, so no one could possibly live there, so you went in and pulled out all the cables from under the floorboards, you pulled out all the copper piping, and you took out all the taps, and you took out the electrics and the gas and everything, you paid half council tax. What? What is this fucking rule? No, not half, 5 times. That's what you should pay. You should fucking pay 5 times more. And if you don't use that property, and if you can prove that you haven't used it, or you just turned up for a day in a year, that's it. You're out. We're taking it. You've got to have someone in the house for, let's say, 3 months of the year, living there. And if that means putting someone in the house just to mind it for 3 months, yeah, fine. Fucking do it. Maybe get a local in Cornwall to look after your house for you, to live in the house that you own. And you don't charge them rent, because you're putting them in there so you don't lose the fucking house. And they're keeping an eye on your house, keep an eye on your property. I often talk about this. I think that people who own property should pay people who live in the property to look after the place. That's their job. It's one of their jobs. They're not making money from it. The idea that your work, your toil, your days, your time on this planet, which is limited, is spent making money to give to someone else so they can buy a second house. So they can pay off the mortgage on their second house that they do not need. A third house, or fourth house, or fifth house. When I was growing up in the 80s, being a landlord was quite a scuzzy thing, you know. It wasn't seen as a respectable way to make money. And that all changed in the mid-90s when they allowed buy-to-let mortgages to exist. So let's get rid of them as well. Let's absolutely get rid of them. And let's start using the housing stock that we have in this country more efficiently. And yes, the landlords will wail. Yes, the House of Lords, which is majority fucking landlords, they have to declare their interest. There's a supercut of all the members of the House of Lords declaring their interest as, yes, well, as a landlord myself, I've got to tell everyone that I'm a landlord, because that's the rules. And so obviously I want all the money, and I want everyone else to work basically for me, for my second house. I want them to work and me to do nothing except own something. And then they give me their time, they give me their labor, they give me their fucking lives. And I get a fucking house out of it. I'm sorry. I know that there are people watching this who are probably landlords or have a good landlord. But here's the thing. I don't think there's anything. I do not think that there is such a thing as a good landlord. Unless they let you live there for free. That's the least they can do. It's the least. I think they should pay you. That's my attitude. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that, that's a noble way of making money. stealing someone else's time, stealing their life force. As soon as you're born, your life is ticking away. One day you'll be at the end of the fucking road, and if you're spent 40 years buying other people's houses for them, you'll have fuck all to show for it. Yeah, they will. They'll be all right. They'll have a portfolio. So here's the other thing: councils can be private landlords, and so they can compulsory purchase property that has been neglected, and they can put people in there, and they can charge them for it, and that money goes to the council instead of going to a private individual, some fat cat, some sheriff fat man. No, it doesn't go to them. Tell you where it goes. Goes on the potholes. Goes on the play parks for the kids. They can go and play in the playgrounds, in the park. Goes on water, so we can get clean water. Maybe you could build a new reservoir or two. Maybe we could treat our sewage correctly. I don't know. Maybe you could go on bin collection, recycling. Maybe you could go on places to charge your fucking car. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think that the people who are against car chargers are going to get very far, though, because there's money to be made. And who's going to make everyone do things about climate change? The insurance companies. Because capitalism. Ivan, thank you very much. Politics is full of ableism. I would love to be given the chance, but I need reasonable adjustments. I have a lot to give, but no support to do so. Ivan, I mean, it's full of ableism. It's full of classism. It's full of... it's still very, very much an old boys network. I mean, it's not so bad in Labour or the Lib Dems, maybe, but definitely in the Tories. Absolutely in the Tories. Sheriff Fatman Carter, great tune. Yeah, big fan of Carter. You may have noticed the way I sign off my shows. Tony says, it's interesting that you mentioned this on GTAV, Grand Theft Auto 5. Lester lets Franklin live in a luxury house for tax purposes. Does Rockstar know that the US Cali has higher tax for empty properties? I guess so. I guess so. I was like, for tax purposes, like, it always reminds me of the Rockstar in the restaurants at the end of the universe who's taken a year off dead for tax purposes. Mr. Tisk, we live as owner-occupiers in a square, just a few of us, rest rented out. Know an elderly couple with a penthouse flat in CC are own 4 and another block has 3. Student rents, groups of singles. Yeah, Martin says, my mate, the one with the bus company, is a reluctant landlord. She bought the house of the 2 mechanics when they were about to be booted out. That's good. Just don't charge them rent. Bloke who owns the flat next door to me literally owns 20 properties in London. We've got to stop this. We've got to start speaking. No one's going to notice until we start speaking out about it. This is one of our big, big fuck-ups in life that we just accept. We accept the absurd because it's what we've always done, or it seems like what we've always done. But a lot of the time, it's not what we've always done. It's what we've done for a little while, but it seems to become a tradition somehow. I don't know how. Paula, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. We could start by taking over unclaimed land. There is a surprising amount of this in the UK. That is cost-free. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I'm going to set a little goal. Let's have a go for the super chats here. Light blue and higher. Yeah, there you go. There's a little one. I'll be very grateful. It says share how you'll celebrate when I'm typing this in, and I've got to sort of think about like what I'm gonna like put down, and I've already got till 10 o'clock, so I can't say, oh, I'm gonna do a bit longer. I'm gonna do a bit more of a show. So I'll be grateful. I'll just be really grateful because you keep this channel going. You really do. So thank you very much to Paula for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Cost free claiming unclaimed land. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do. There's a lot of properties that are lying dormant in very well-to-do areas. And the reason why no one lives there is because the person who owns it lives in Dubai or in fucking Chechnya or somewhere. And they just use it when they visit London. You think about MPs, right? So a lot of MPs have got a property in London, which I think is fucking absurd. I've spoken about this before. They should be put up in hotels. Maybe not all in the same hotel, because obviously that's a security risk. But they should be put up in hotels. The government should have contracts for certain hotels, so that when these MPs come down from Durham, or down from the Lake District or Liverpool or wherever, or Scotland, or fly over from Northern Ireland, they're put up in a hotel. And it's free. It's free for them because they're there to do a job that we pay for. The idea that you've got 650, I know not that many people go to London, some of them live in London anyway, but the idea that you've got up to 650 people who are given free houses in London, essentially, when there is a housing shortage, and I know that's a drop in the ocean, but still, 650 families could have those properties. 650 people could be homed somewhere in London. Just the fact that we don't do this is so maddening. And it's clear why we don't. It's because the landlords are in charge. Like, the people who run a lot of this stuff are landlords themselves, and they don't like it when I say that's not a proper job. How about you get a proper job? How about you get a job that doesn't suck the marrow out of working people and leave them as carcasses of just nothing left at the end of their working career, because instead of working for themselves, instead of earning money for themselves and their family, they have earned money for you. It's just disgraceful. It is modern slavery. Once you make that connection, you can't go back. You can't go back to going, well, there is a moral case for owning properties and putting people in them and then charging them an arm and a leg to live in them and being a real dick about it. I think it's wrong. I think it is so, so wrong. You can have one house that you live in. Two, if for extenuating circumstances. Three, fuck off. Just fuck off. Because this model is destroying inner cities. This model has just already destroyed Cornwall, where you have thousands of properties that are owned by rich city bankers who just go there for they pay a cleaner to go in once a week, clean up their property. And the people of Cornwall have got nowhere to fucking live. Absolute madness. Absolute, the actual residents. It's one of the poorest areas in the country. It's one of the poorest areas in Europe, for fuck's sake. And all these properties that could have families in. No. And here's the thing, we get told that people who don't earn much money, who have children, are selfish. Then we get told we're selfish for not having children. Make your fucking mind up, the right. But here's the thing. If you're renting a property and you want to have kids, surely that's going to come into the factor of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, what if we end up homeless? And who can get mortgages now? I think the average age of getting a mortgage now is 31. So there's a lot of people in their late 30s, early 40s getting their first mortgage. And for a lot of women, that's quite late on to get pregnant. I know it's not quite the cliff that people make it out to be. However, it gives you a smaller window of opportunity if that's what you want to do, if you want to start a family. And I think that is particularly scuzzy. So let's have a look at what the rich want, right? They want us, the rest of us. I'm not saying poor people. I'm saying the people who aren't rich, right? The rich and the super rich. Let's leave them over there. Everybody else, 97% of the population, right? They don't want us to have kids. They don't want us to have a family. They don't want us to own property. They don't want us to travel. They don't want us to live in another country. They don't want us to fall in love with someone from another country. They've put obstacles in the way of all those things, so they can make more money for themselves, and so they can kick the ladder away, make sure no one else gets to enjoy the high life, because they are fucked off, because the middle class grew and grew in the 20th century, and the lifestyle of the very, very rich and the very, very not rich wasn't that difficult. We all watched the same TV shows. We all, went to the same pubs and bought the same beer. We all used the same underground. And they hated that. And so all they wanted to do was to push the working people, the lower orders, as far away from them as possible, and have an upper echelon that they control and that we don't. They want to take away our rights. They want to take away our privileges. They want to take our lives. They want to suck the marrow out of our lives to feast on, like the fucking vampires they are. I never thought I'd be a fucking class warrior. I really didn't. I'm white. I'm middle-aged. I'm middle class. I'm not the person who you thought of at the front of the march. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, what do we want? Incremental change for the better. When do we want it? In due course. That was very much me 20 years ago. It's not me now. Now I am rattled. I am pissed at the fact that there is so much money out there, so much in the way of resources. And we, the rest of us, are left begging from day to day, just asking people, could you spare a dime? Put 50p in the idiot. Anyone want to throw a super chat my way? That'd be great. And I hate having to do that. I hate the fact that if I was right wing, I could have a sugar daddy who would give me loads of money to do exactly what I'm doing today. And I would have a marketing budget, and I'd have an editor, and I'd have a producer. And they'd all be paid. They'd all have a pension. They'd all have savings. They'd all have a car. They'd all, have somewhere nice to live. Paid for by the rich people who don't want to pay tax. They're happy to pay us to put out their propaganda. Anyone else want to do that on the left? Anyone? No. Because once people hit the 1 million mark, once they feel like they're rich, they don't give a fuck anymore. Change my mind on this. Change my mind. Find me a philanthropic millionaire. I do not believe they exist anymore. Find me one. Because if they really do exist, I'd love to meet them. I'd love to meet them. Because the people who put themselves forward as these philanthropic millionaires, they don't seem to be wanting to help out. I'm not saying about me, but they don't want to be seeming to help out progressive voices from using the tools at our disposal. This wonderful platform of YouTube. Thank you, Google Daddy, for letting us broadcast for free, potentially, to every single smartphone and laptop that's connected to the internet in the motherfucking world. Billions of devices. Billions with a B. Why aren't we making the most of it? Because as soon as you get to the £1 million mark, you regard yourself as rich, and that's it. Kick the ladder away. I hate the plebs. I hate the upbringing. I'll go around telling anyone how working class I am while pissing on the working class. The fastest way to make someone who is a Labour voter, a lifelong Labour voter, jump to Conservatives or refuck, have them win the lottery. Fastest fucking way. Works every time. Alistair, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. A wee bit for the cause. Keep up the good fight, Graham. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Alistair. That's very, very kind of you. I'm just going to quickly go to the papers because I have overrun already. But I'll keep going for a bit. We've got the Mirror here. Found Desant safe after our drive to find him. It's good. Mirror campaign victories. Glee school meals. 500,000 more kids get free grub. Winter fuel U-turn for this year. There you go. The Mirror won it somehow. I don't know. Then we've got Caitlin Moran. Health trackers, I test the best. Putin has revenge in his mind, says Trump after a 75-minute call. Okay, well done. There's a picture of the woman shaking hands with a bush. The woman from the family of 42 that we're obsessed with. So there she is. She shook hands with the bush. Front page news. Not on page 37. Front page news. That is what counts as front page news in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And we think it's normal. Come here. It's not normal. It's really not normal. Nobody else does this shit. Just us. We're a bit weird like that. Anyway, smiling beats Botox to boost attractiveness. Few transformations are briskly administered as the lunchtime Botox jab, promising a smoother brow and a fresher face and subtle lift in social currency. Injectable treatments take just minutes. If the aim is to be seen as more attractive, however, a study suggests that an even simpler procedure is far more effective. Smiling. You know, I could have told you that. I mean, you know, I've travelled. I've been around the world. Man of the world, you know. I'm quite a smiley person. And you get me out drinking normally. I'm, you know, I'm quite a boisterous, good-natured chap. If I drink too much, I tend to fall asleep rather than start a fight. Yeah, I just like having a good time, and someone having a good time, it's kind of infectious, and it's nice to see people smile. It's nice to see people happy, and when I see someone who's unhappy, my natural reaction is I want to go and talk to them and see what's up and try and help them if I can. And yeah, so there you go. Save your money on Botox. Just smile. Just keep smiling. Just keep smiling. Just take it all in good humor, because life's a laughing. No, that's a joke. It's true. You'll see it's all a show. Keep them laughing as you go. Remember that the last laugh is on you. As someone once said. Who was it? Oscar Wilde, maybe. Moving on. Daily Mail. Here we go. Oh, God, advert for the eBay. Why the Duchess of Privacy is suddenly sharing a video of herself twerking in maternity suite. I just, okay. I love this idea that they want the privacy. And it's like, yeah, for our home life, for our children, we want our privacy, but we do understand the fact that we are public figures, a prince and an actress, and we've already got like high profiles of our own, and we're happy to lean into that to help out charities and to open supermarkets or whatever the fuck it is you want us to do. But there's a limit on how much press intrusion we want in our lives. And as I keep showing you every fucking day, there's a picture of one of these knobheads from this fucking family who are doing something completely inane, and it's the front page news, because the Royal Cell newspapers, that is the toxic contract, the toxic power dynamic between our royal family and the tabloids. You keep doing daft shit, we take pictures of daft shit, we put it in the newspapers, and we'll continue to support the monarchy as an institution in return. Because imagine if all the papers started saying, oh, we should get rid of the monarchy. People started going, yes, it does cost us a lot of money. And I do think it's a bit ridiculous that if someone in Liverpool fucking dies without a will and without any next of kin, the money goes to King Charles, even if they were a rabid Republican. I'll tell you something that's kind of crazy. The way that the same word means something different in different countries. So a Republican over here is someone who wants to get rid of a monarchy. A Republican in America means someone who thinks that Donald Trump's got a brain. A liberal here means like a liberal Democrat, right? In Canada, the Liberal Party is the left-wing party. It's now, centre-left party. It's now run by Mark Carney. In Australia, the Liberal Party is the Conservative Party. Just to confuse you. The Labour Party, without the U, is the Labour Party. It's the left-wing party, centre-left. But the Conservative Party is called the Liberal Party. Make it make sense. Make battle lines drawn over immigration. Kia planning legal crackdown on migrants exploiting right to family life to avoid deportation. Kami pledges to revive Rwanda scheme. Fuck off. I feel like I'm in one of those Black Mirror style time loops. Just going around the same fucking day over and over again for 999,999 years. Right, anyway, I was diagnosed with autism at 50. Well done, mate. I was diagnosed with ADHD at 45. To a winner fiver. He liberated generations of queer writers. This is the obituary of Edmund White. And then we have chaos over return of winter fuel payments, which is what I've been talking about today. Guards a paramedic details slaughter of colleagues, which is an horrific story in which a large number of medics, 15 medics were massacred by the Israeli Defense Force. I don't know what they're defending themselves. They're defending themselves against doctors by killing them. And then there's the warning over pregnancy risk on weight loss drugs. This is a story about don't take Ozempic if you're pregnant. Okay, I won't. Thanks for letting me know. We've got a wonderful story in the Daily Star here. Heartwarming tale of the Holy Grail being fabled chalice buried in leafy St. Albans. The Holy Grail is secretly buried in St. Albans. All right, whatever. If you say so, mate. Farage backs call for fuel U-turn to help OAPs. And Zelda from the Terrorhawks there, who is apparently the Queen of Smiles. Don't know why she's on the front cover. She's got some flowers. Woman has flowers. Quick, put it on the literal front page. Anyway, so this is Farage jumping on the bandwagon. There's no bandwagon that Farage doesn't like to jump on, calling for U-turn to help OAPs, which is something that Labour are already considering, and he's going to take all the credit for it. And this is a mess of Labour's own making. So fucking hell, Labour. Fucking hell. You know? The I newspaper. Next up, Reeves given £27,000 donation from lobbying firm linked to Thames water bidder. Which isn't good, is it? But it was declared. That's the only reason they know. It's not like she tried to hide it, unlike the Tories. We're thinking of leaving the city to become farmers, says Abby Clancy. And I think you're probably thinking what I am right now is, who the fuck is Abby Clancy? Let's find out who Abby Clancy is. She's an English model. Oh, that's nice. She's married to Peter Crouch. She's from Liverpool. Oh, that's kind of cool. She was born in Liverpool and she went to St. Julie's. Oh, okay. I'll let her off. I was going to say, is she privately educated? Is that why they want to go live in a farm? Given the choice, Abby, I'd rather live in Liverpool, but you know, that's just me. We all have our own preferences. Pensioners do you want to do a swap? Do you want to do a swap, Abby? You come and live here in Durham and we'll go live in Liverpool. Cool. Veg pie, I can do £1.99 today. More a different day. Oh, thank you, Veg pie. That's really kind of you for the super chats. Thank you. We've got 2 super chats in of the 5 of the target 5. If anyone else wants to drop one in before we wrap up in about 9 minutes' time, you're very welcome to do so. Pensioners on disability and housing benefit in line for winter fuel payments. So that's good news. Again, looking after people who are disabled, which is what we should do. This is what you fucking should do. Anyway, can Clarkson say Britain's pubs? No. Musk wanted to stay on at White House. Twerk It Baby, Meghan's labour of love. And there's a lovely picture there of her with her daughter, Lilibet, named after the late Queen before she was late. Reeves forced to drop net zero cuts. Talk about that. Hackers, this is an interesting story here. Hackers steal 100,000 tax records after HMRC phishing attack. It was a phishing attack. So someone let them in. See, hackers are a bit like vampires. They can't really get in unless someone invites them. People can invite them by doing something really stupid, like making their password or setting up their 2-factor authentication in a secure way. But yeah, don't let the vampires in. It renders you powerless. Putin plotting revenge for Ukraine drone strike, says Trump. Badenoch to review leaving the ECHR is a story down here, which you can't see because I'm not. Where's me point? Where's me pointer? Oh, there it is. Here, Israel actions in Gaza are appalling, which they are, and inside war are parish at war with its priest. Okay, and 1 in 7 sick days is for mental health. I am not surprised. How about, I've got an idea. How about making modern life less fucking stressful? How about that, eh? How about having it so you're not freaking out every time you walk out the front door? How about that? How about a system that doesn't penalise you because for no fault of your own, you're 5 minutes late getting to the train station? How about that? How about not having the stress of being on the bus to the train station and being stuck in fucking traffic and thinking, oh shit, because this ticket is non-transferable and non-refundable, I'm not going to get my money back. This ticket cost me 70 fucking pounds to go to Liverpool and now I can't go because of this bus being too slow. The stress. How about parking? You try and park now and it's like, oh, you got to download the fucking app. and you can't get a signal because you're on gift gap and it's Liverpool city centre and you're trying to go up to the top of the multi-storey car park. You can't get a fucking signal. You can't download the app. So you're freaking out. You get back in your car. You drive out of the car park. But oh my God, you were there for 5 minutes and 1 second trying to download their fucking app so you could pay for your fucking parking. Boom. £40 fine. Thank you very much, parking guy. Thank you so much. I really needed that stress in my life. We're stressed out all the time. You drive from here in Durham, right? You drive from here to Newcastle in a normal car, not one that knows what the fucking speed limit is. You have to change the speed limit you are doing 53 times. I counted it. I counted how many times the speed limit changed. It changed 57 times. And that is just for a half-hour fucking journey. Literally. It changed every minute. I was in a 20 zone, and a 30 zone, then a 60 zone, then a 30 zone, then a 20 zone. Why is it so stressful? Why is modern life designed to freak us the fuck out all the time? And if you make one little mistake, fine. You drink out the wrong cup, fine. You get on the wrong train, fine. You're not quite with it. Oh shit, which platform is it? You go to the wrong platform, fine. I'm not saying you get a fine for going to the wrong platform. I get a fine because you've got to pay for your train ticket. You got to get another one because they won't refund it. Or, there'll be you'll call them up and there'll be a charge. They'll charge you for this, for changing your ticket. Charge you 20 quid or something. It's a fine. 20 quid of your money. That could be half a day's fucking wages for a lot of people. 20 quid gone because you went to the wrong platform. Because instead of just having a fucking screen that tells you which platform to go to, they have, with all of the trains that are coming in the next half an hour, so you just quickly look at it and run to the fucking platform. They have a cycling system that cycles like CFAX, page 1 of 3, page 2 of 3, page 3 of 3. And page 3 of 3 is a fucking advert! Yep, fine. Get a fine for that. Life, modern life, they make it so stressful. Please do not even get me started on flying somewhere. Oh my God. I've always disliked airports. I don't mind flying. I don't mind being in the air. I don't mind taking off. I don't mind landing. I hate airports. They are the most stressful situations on earth. Especially when you got a scorpion crawling on your shoulder like I did when I was in there, right next to your neck. Like what happened to me when I was in Costa Rica a few months ago. Jesus, that was scary. Ivan Ambrose, yes, but what about disabled people who are not OAPs? Yeah, Ivan, I agree. I mean, people who have disabilities who need it should be able to get the support that they need. Absolutely, 100%. And I don't know if Labour is addressing that. I don't feel they are. And they're adding more stress, to talk about stress again. More stress to people who are on PIP, having to, like yourself, go and fucking fill out forms and have interviews, endless fucking interviews. This was the Tory way, wasn't it? They were getting people who were like terminally ill to prove that they couldn't work. Just, whatever. Pay attention. Yeah, not paying attention. Dog an issue, all good. Well, there you go, mate. Paying attention. If you let your guard down for 1 second in this life, in the society in which we have created for ourselves, if you let your guard down for 1 fucking second, it'll cost you money. It'll cost you money. I guarantee it. It'll cost you money. You've got to have your wherewithal about you at all times. And you know what? If I was going on a mission to visit every country in the world without flying to prove that it could be done, okay, I've taken that on myself. I've taken the fact that I'm going to be stressed out all fucking day and all fucking night because I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how I'm going to get there. My plan A, my plan B, my plan C has all failed. There's got to be some way off this rock. There's got to be some way to get across to that country. There's got to be some way to cross this fucking border. But I put that on myself. It shouldn't feel like that for people just living their lives. And you ask me why fucking mental health has gone through the roof in this country. Mental health problems have gone through the roof in this country. I'll show you. I'll tell you another reason why mental health in this country has been so damaged. Here it is on the front cover of the Financial Times here. Trump's big, beautiful bill, big bastard bill, will swell US debt by 2.4 trillion. That stresses people out because we don't know what's going to happen to the worldwide economy. Gold comfort. That's like cold comfort. Very good pun there, Financial Times. You don't normally do puns. Democrats have weakness for no-hopers. I can't really argue with that. War fears spur Iranian buyers. Here, the gold comfort. So the price of gold in Iran has outpaced a global surge. Don't like gold. Labour cans £5,000 a head business event as tight budgets choke demand. Labour has postponed a £5,000 a head business conference just weeks before it was due to take place amid reports of low demand for the event. Why would you spend £5,000 to go to a conference to hear people talk? And this is it for me, for Labour. Why would they think that that's a good idea? Who the fuck is advising them? Let's have a business conference and we'll charge people £5,000 to go. Anyway, right. And then we've got the Metro here. Reeves unveils major transport plan, 15 billion to get Britain moving, which I really welcome. I was talking about this yesterday. But I absolutely welcome this. The more money that's spent on public transport, the happier I get. And do you know what we like? We like happy Graham. Not stressed Graham. We like happy Graham. I like happy Graham. He's a much nicer person. I previously mentioned number 2 son had been sanctioned for not complaining when his universal benefits was late. It's just about making clients' lives difficult because being unemployed is naughty. Yeah. I'm most grumpy when in the city that isn't Exeter. Even then I don't like to stay in the home city too long. I hate cities, says one angry pagan. I'm a city boy. I love it. I love the fact that things are different and there's stuff on and there's events and there's gigs and there's, I like change. It's a dopamine hit probably. I like waking up somewhere new. I had this period when I lived in Liverpool back in 2007. My girlfriend had gone away for a few months back to Australia, where she's from, and I decided to see how long I could go without going home. And basically I think I spent a month just bumming around Liverpool, staying on mates' couches, going out. I was working hard. I was doing a lot of work at the time. But I was working hard and playing hard, and that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Don't know if I could do it now. I'll probably die. Too old. I'm too old. Oh, Ivan, thank you for Ivan. You're being very, very generous. Thank you so much, Ivan, this morning. Honestly, mate, I really appreciate it because I know that it's not easy for you. So I really, really appreciate it when you drop so many super chats in. This is amazing. Morgan Masrini has got to go. He's ruining Labour. Even if he's not, get rid of him. Because he's become a talisman for everything we fear about Labour. He's become he's being held up even by Kemi Badenoch in Prime Minister's Questions yesterday. She mentioned Morgan McSweeney. Yeah. Shouty Graham is fun to watch, though, says Joanna. Yeah, true. Victoria says, I stopped flying 15 years ago. I now holiday in the UK and really enjoy it. No stress of airports. I used to travel around Europe for work and it was stressful. My holiday now in Scotland. I was born in the city, but no fan of it. I prefer greenery, not fucking concrete. I hate concrete. It's the one downfall of being in a city. I love things built of stone and brick and wood. I absolutely hate things built of concrete. I think it's disgusting. It makes me feel violently sick to see this shit that was built in the 1960s and 70s with no concept of the future, how it would look, how it would age, maybe an idea of just having windows in the motherfucker. We built these shopping centres all over the country. There's a disgusting one in Oxford. You've got this beautiful medieval town, and then there's disgusting shopping. I think it's called the Pyramid Centre or something in the middle of Oxford, and it is disgusting, and it has no windows. It's just a big concrete block, like a Supermax prison. placed in the middle of a city centre. It makes me so possibly a little bit irrationally angry, but like it makes me viscerally angry. The shit that gets built. It's like, why do we have to build stuff that looks shite? And the people who love it, I mean, go live in Brasilia or somewhere. Go live in Canberra. Go live in a new town. Go live in Milton Keynes. That's where that shit belongs. But they don't see the fascism inherent in concrete brutalist architecture. They don't see that it was founded by literal fascists like Le Corbusier. A literal fascist who wanted to level Paris and build 5 high-rise flats for everyone in Paris to live in because he wanted 1 million people to use the same front door. He got off on that idea. He didn't, though. He liked living somewhere posh. It's a bit like when Andy Warhol died and they went into his apartment and he didn't find a single piece of pop art there. It's all Renaissance and pre-Raphaelite shit. Just saying. Ori, thank you very much for the £1 super chat. Yeah, I need one more and then I'll get going. I've still got time for my target. Have I still got time for my target? I don't know. Oh, the goal ended. Oh, it's all over. Should have set longer than half an hour. Anyway, okay, well, I'll leave it at that then. I don't know why he's doing it. Maybe he just needs some time away from his missus. What's this? Some chip. What? It's about me. The cat's not here at the moment. She's away with work. She comes back later today. I'm all home alone today. So I'm going to do the Home Alone things of, what does he do in Home Alone? If we get some burglars, I'll attack them with lethal booby traps, which somehow don't kill them for some reason. I'll eat loads of popcorn and watch TV, I think, or something. I don't know. What does he do? I've forgotten. Is there a reason why he's doing this, or is he just mental? Or is he trying to take Graham's? Who are you talking about? You talking about me? We should check that no one advising Labour is called Mr. Wormtongue. Anne says, gotta wait to see what the estimate is for Triffid removal before I drop any super chats. They're not possible today. The Pyramid Centre is in Portsmouth, I thought. What's the one in Oxford? Someone tell me. It's got some shit name. I think it closed down. Graham, check out the man that's walking here to Thailand. Walking from here to Thailand. Good luck with that. There's a guy called Carl Bushby who's been walking for 30 years, nearly 30 years, from the tip of South America home to Hull. So when Cat's away, Graham plays. Yeah. Mega shitty one. Oh, Ernie, I love it. And Veg Pie has dropped in £2 super chat. Go on. It's almost tomorrow. Thank you so much, Veg Pie, for the £2 super chat. Really appreciate that. Okay, so in conclusion to what I was talking about, like I say, Labour doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be competent. And their U-turns smacks of incompetent. I have no problem with when the facts change, when the situation changes. I have no problem with opinions changing in the Labour Party, especially when it's for the good. But this was a needless, avoidable error, a big error. The Chancellor's job is to protect the most vulnerable people during the winter, And Labour have fucked up massively. They've really, really fucked up in this case. And they need to sort it out. Because I know I keep saying, 4 years. They've got 4 years. And I know that a week is a long time in politics and 4 years is even longer. But we're always going to have a problem with first impressions. And there's going to be a lot of voters out there who are just like, no, they fucked me off. I'll never forgive them. That's it. They're over for me. I'm not interested. And Labour need to fucking learn that 99% of being a government is communication. Something Boris Johnson and Trump know innately. They can spin bullshit into gold. Farage does it as well. And Labour need to learn. I'm not saying they need to become a bunch of fucking grifters, but I'm saying that they need to learn how to spin stuff. They used to know how to. Under Blair, they knew how to do it. But under this lot, they haven't got a clue. And it looks amateur. It looks incompetent. And if they have any hope of winning the next election with a sizable majority, they need to nip this in the bud and make Labour look as professional as fuck. So, on that, I should be back at 6 o'clock this evening with my second part of Hughes the World on Egypt. I've got to be honest with you. I've been, the last few weeks, whenever I've got a spare minute, I've been trying to trudge through my footage from Egypt. And the thing is, I have footage from 3 separate trips to Egypt. 3 separate trips. And I have over 14 hours of footage to trudge through to cut down to a sensible amount. So what I'm thinking of maybe doing is doing another episode on Egypt, doing part 2 to finish off the history and talking about my experiences there and stuff tonight. And then I'll continue on with the E's, Eritrea, or whoever's next. And then I am going to come back. I'm going to circle back to Egypt at some point when I've actually got my video together, because it is a huge, huge job. It's the kind of job that you really want AI to do. You want to just feed all this footage into an AI and it to go, okay, I'll cut it together and make something interesting. But you can't. AI is just not there. AI is just not all that. It's got no sense of context. Can't tell a story. It's got its limitations. It's got its limitations. Do you know what doesn't have limitations? You're awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Walk like an Egyptian, says Sarah. Indeed, I shall do that. I'm going to get going now. But I just want to say thank you for the chats. Thank you for the super chats. And, oh, hang on. What the fuck? What the? That wasn't supposed to happen. How did that happen? Jesus Christ. That was scary. That just kind of like popped up out of nowhere. It's because I pressed on the mouse and it just opened up something that wasn't. It's an old Where the Fuck Are We cover. Anyway, look, take care. Have a great rest of the day. Give us a like on the way out. We always like a like. I hope to see you at 6 o'clock tonight. We'll be doing another episode of Hughes of the World. And tomorrow morning, I'll be back at 9 o'clock. We'll have Morning Brew. Don't forget, at 1 o'clock, we have got Phil Morehouse coming on the channel to talk on the agenda. And then at 9:30 tomorrow evening, straight after Maximilian has finished his stream, you can join us here on Politics Social for the Friday Night Social. Love to have you with us. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.